Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I know it's been a little bit of a while, you know, at least I wasn't gone for too long. Yeah. Today we're going to be looking at, you know, have you seen those Reddit stories online where they're kind of strange? I've been, you know, scrolling through social media and, you know, you'll come across like a bunch of those Reddit stories. They always sound really fake, but for some reason they're just really interesting to listen to. I don't know. Hopefully they're interesting. If they're not interesting, then I'm very sorry. But I'll try to make them interesting because, you know, that's my thing. So let's get into the video.
Just for context, I'm a teenage female and still attending school, so I work the same night shifts on Friday and midday weekend shifts every week. Around 5 months ago, I served a man who had come in with his family during the weekend. He was really rude to me and my coworker, constantly demanding extra stuff, claiming the food wasn't fresh, and was also very strict to his family. He asked kids to stand in line and walk to wash their hands, yelling at them if they talked while eating. When he was beginning to leave, he randomly came back to me, guiding his crying daughter to tell me thank you for the food. She was clearly upset and embarrassed, trying to hide her face. I didn't see him again until maybe 5 weeks ago. Every Friday when I work the night shift by myself, he comes in to buy food but eats in the store by himself. My other coworker leaves 2 hours before closing, and all I have to do is the last bit of orders and then clean with the store closed and then the lights off. Each time he was being overly nice, but it felt so performative. Like he would smile, give me a compliment, and then his face would drop and wait for my reaction. He creeped me out, but it wasn't any reason for concern until 2 weeks ago. He ate inside again and left. Maybe an hour later, I closed up the store and then cleaned, finishing up at around 11:30 p.m. I left through the back car park and went to the strip of stores across the road, since I wanted to go to the bank and further down the street to the laundromat to wash the aprons since no one had bothered to do it before. When going to the bank, I saw the man again.
I've been really distracted by the visuals, so all I kind of remember is a guy in the kitchen abuses his family, and he's like, you should wash your hands. They don't wash their hands. No, they can't talk. I don't know if they can talk while they wash their hands, but they can't talk. I think I should probably start paying attention now.
Outside the bank on his phone. Didn't think anything of it. I saw him before and it made sense to me that he was there. I walked right past him without acknowledging him down the street until I noticed him following me. Each time I stopped, so would he. If I randomly turned or crossed the road, he was still there. He always kept a gap between us. I was also doing random stuff to see if he would do the same. When I finally reached the laundromat, he stood in front of the door just watching me. Not really knowing what to do since the laundromat is a long hallway and not wanting to be face to face with him when I came out of the entry, I booked it for the fire escape on the opposite end, which led to an alleyway surrounded by the sides of apartments. It took me ages to walk out of the alleyway until I finally reached the street where I could walk around the block of stores back to the bank and diagonal to the car park. I looked down the street again and I didn't see him.
What if this was just kind of a guy? You know, like how like when you're walking down the street at night, you know, what if this person was actually just really, really nice?
Authorised by the Australian Government, Canberra.
I told my coworkers and boss about this. I now no longer have the night shift and work Fridays after 4 p.m. and my coworkers have been keeping a lookout, but I haven't seen him since.
Okay.
I've been busy dealing with the wake of a family tragedy since this all happened.
Okay. I think this is a different. I think this is a different one. What I got. Wait, hang on. Yeah, there was a. Wait, hang on. The guy in the kitchen. The guy in the kitchen. I don't know. Was it the guy in the kitchen who was like telling his family that they couldn't talk and they had to wait in line? Was he like following him? He just didn't want him to talk. I don't know.
I've been busy dealing with the wake of a family tragedy since this all happened. But now that things are returning to the new normal, I figured it's a good time to share. So this is what I thought was a nightmare. First, I'll describe the nightmare. It's a very short dream, and it feels like a clear memory just because of how scary it was. I was about 4 or 5 years old, perhaps 6 at most, and my twin brother and I had a bunk bed in a room at the furthest end of the house where we grew up in. The nightmare had me in my bed.
Wait, hang on. How old are they again?
And my twin brother.
I know you're twins. No, I actually didn't remember that one either.
I was about 4 or 5 years old.
Oh, 4.
Perhaps 6 at most.
That's pretty young.
The nightmare had me in my bed looking out the window to see a red sky. The kind it gets in the early dawn hours.
Wait, hang on. So is he like older now? And he's like kind of looking back
before sunrise, but light still colors the sky. The next and only other thing I remembered in this nightmare is that a man with crazy blue colored eyes and a bald head appears at the window and stares right at me.
Okay.
The nightmare ends there, but I remember just how much I screamed and screamed about it. I don't know where my brother was at the time when I woke up screaming, and the only thing I could remember from when I woke up was having my mom come and get me and calm me down as she took me to her bedroom down the hall. I only remember that so well because I wondered where my dad was at the time.
Was his dad just like outside? Maybe he was like, oh no, cleaning the windows. Cleaning the windows in the middle of the night? I don't know. Gotta find time to clean the windows at some point. Maybe he was the twin brother. I don't know what the twin brother looks like. Maybe he has a bit of a hobby. A very niche hobby, a very strange hobby. But a hobby, you know. I don't know. Maybe it turns him on.
Fast forward to this May, and my father is in the hospital in the country he lives in Colombia. And my twin brother and our older sister are staying in a hotel about a 5-minute walk away from the hospital he's staying in the ICU at. One day, after a long day of being there for Dad and for the extended family, my siblings and I return to the hotel and sit together to have a couple of beers and just try to relax after all of that. We start discussing things, just trying to unwind, but somehow the discussion of nightmares and dreams come up, and I bring up the above story. Well, without missing a beat, my sister straight up explains that had really happened, that some guy really did look through my window, and that she remembers the whole thing. My sister was 5 years older than my brother and I, so this would make her 9 to 10 years old, had her bedroom adjacent to the bedroom that my brother and I shared. Her room faced our lawn and street, while our room faced the neighbor's house and their driveway with a very low fence between the two houses. While she didn't get into too much detail about the days before this nightmare and event, she said that she had been followed by a bald man in a truck as she had rode her bike home with some friends.
It's the kitchen guy in the kitchen. Maybe the kitchen guy was like really dedicated. He really wanted people to like stop talking, so he followed them home to stare at the window.
Friends a couple of times before. The day immediately before this nightmare was no different, but the man this time actually drove right past the house. At the time, she was a latchkey kid, since my brother and I had to go to a special school about 45 minutes away from our hometown for a speech impediment that many twins have, and my mom had to pick us up rather than be home for my sister after school. But she was never home alone for more than an hour. That afternoon and evening was pretty normal as she remembers it. My dad came home from his job. He worked as a part-time cop and worked in a local hardware store. We then all had dinner, did homework, played, and did the usual family things before bed. That night around 12 to 1 a.m., this bald-headed dude had parked down the street at a small industrial park and walked up to our house and tried to get in through my sister's window, which woke her up, and she then screamed when she saw the man nearly opening the window as it wasn't locked. My dad stormed in and tried to shove the guy out or tried to hit him with the nightstick he had. My sister doesn't remember exactly, and this caused the guy to run off, but only for a short time, as he came back a moment later to try and get into the window in my room.